23,000 people watched it happen, live, in real time. A makeup artist, 8 months pregnant, recording her Tuesday tutorial. Then the door crashed open. What happened next went viral for all the wrong reasons. The attack, the blood, the betrayal, all broadcast to thousands of strangers. But that was just the beginning. Because the woman who attacked her was carrying a secret. The husband who should have rushed to the hospital never called. And the $53,000 in their bank account disappeared while she was being treated for wounds on her face. This is the story of how one woman's life exploded in 60 seconds, how a live stream became evidence, how a mistress became an unlikely ally, and how the man who orchestrated everything thought he'd gotten away with it until he confessed, on tape, to crimes he didn't know were being recorded. This is a story about manipulation, about survival, about two women who were supposed to be enemies discovering they were both victims of the same man, and about how sometimes justice comes not from revenge, but from refusing to stay broken. 23,000 people watched her world shatter. 3 million watched her build it back. Stronger, scarred, unbreakable. This is Claire's story, and it starts with blood. The ring light cast perfect shadows across Claire's face as 23,000 people watched her blend foundation. The brush moved in gentle circles. Her voice was calm, soothing, professional. "Now you want to buff this out in circular motions," Claire said. "Take your time. There's no rush with foundation." The comments section scrolled past. Hearts and thumbs up emojis. Questions about which brush she was using. Someone asked about her due date. Claire smiled at the camera. Her hand rested on her belly. 8 months pregnant. The baby kicked. She laughed. "Yes, little one, mommy's almost done." The studio door was supposed to be locked. Jenna always locked it during live streams. But the door crashed open. The sound was sharp, violent. The ring light shook. Claire turned. Her smile faded. Ashley Keene stood in the doorway. Brian's assistant. Claire had met her twice, maybe 3 times. Office parties, brief introductions. Ashley's face was red, blotchy. She'd been crying. "Ashley," Claire said, "what are you think you're so perfect." Ashley's voice cracked, sitting there playing the perfect wife. Claire's hand went to her belly, instinctive, protective. The baby kicked twice, hard, like a warning. "I don't understand," Claire said. "What's happening?" The comments section exploded. Question marks, shocked face emojis. Someone typed, "Who is that?" Ashley moved forward, fast. Her heels clicked against the tile floor. Click, 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 getting closer. "He's mine," Ashley screamed. "He's been mine for months." Claire stood up, too slow. The baby bump made everything slow. Ashley's hand came up. Red fingernails, perfectly manicured. Claire saw them coming. "Ashley, stop." The nails came down. 3 strikes, fast and vicious. Temple to jaw. The pain was bright, sharp, immediate. Claire's hands flew up. Too late. Blood welled from the scratches. The ring light had clattered. Claire stumbled backward. Her water glass shattered against the tile. "You stole my life," Ashley screamed. "You stole my happiness." Claire touched her face. Her fingers came away red, wet. The baby was moving frantically inside her. Panic. Her baby felt her panic. "What are you talking about?" Claire's voice shook. "I don't. Brian loves me, not you. He never loved you." The words hit harder than the scratches. Brian, her husband, Ashley, his assistant. The studio door banged open again. Jenna ran in from the back office. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my God, Claire!" Jenna grabbed Ashley, pulled her back. Ashley was still screaming, still trying to reach Claire. Her face was twisted, unrecognizable. "He promised me," Ashley sobbed. "He promised." Claire stood frozen. Her cheek was burning. Blood dripped onto her white shirt. The baby kicked again. The camera was still running, still recording. The little red light blinked steadily. 23,000 people were watching. Now 24,000, 25,000. Claire's phone was on the desk, vibrating. Over and over, notifications flooding in. Her screen lit up, dimmed, lit up again. Jenna had Ashley's arms pinned. "Someone call 911, Jenna shouted. A customer from the waiting area appeared. Phone already out, already dialing. "Yes, I need police. There's been an assault. The makeup studio on 5th Street. Ashley went limp in Jenna's arms, sobbing. "He said he'd leave her. He said we'd be together." Claire's mind was moving slowly, like wading through mud. Brian, Ashley, together. The words didn't make sense. Couldn't make sense. "How long?" Claire heard herself ask. Ashley looked up. Mascara streaked down her face. "7 months," she whispered, "since your baby announcement." The room tilted. Claire grabbed the counter. 7 months. She'd been pregnant for 8 months. The affair started when she told Brian about the baby. Sirens wailed outside. Getting closer, red and blue lights flashed through the studio windows. Claire looked at the camera, at the little red light, at the lens that had just broadcast her humiliation to thousands of strangers. Her face was bleeding. Her marriage was a lie. Her baby was kicking desperately against her ribs. She reached over. Her hands shook. She couldn't end the stream, couldn't figure out which button. Too many buttons. Jenna released Ashley to the police officers who rushed in. She ran to the camera. The screen went black. But it was too late. The internet had already recorded everything. Police officers filled the small studio. 2 uniforms, 1 detective, questions flying. Claire sat in her client chair, the same chair where she made women beautiful. Now she sat bleeding. An EMT cleaned her face. The antiseptic stung. Claire barely felt it. She was watching Ashley in handcuffs, still crying, still saying Brian's name. "Ma'am, we need to get you to the hospital." The EMT's voice was kind. "For the baby." The baby, yes, the baby. Claire stood. Her legs felt disconnected from her body. Jenna grabbed her arm, steadied her. "I'm coming with you," Jenna said. "Your husband," the detective said. "We'll need to speak with him. Where is he?" "Where, whoa, Brian?" Claire pulled out her phone. 53 missed calls, none from Brian. Texts from numbers she didn't recognize. Her Instagram was exploding. Her Facebook. Her email. She scrolled through, looking for his name. Nothing. "I don't know," Claire said. The detective's face remained neutral, professional. But something flickered in her eyes, understanding or maybe pity. "We'll find him," the detective said. "Detective Maria Foster. Here's my card." The ambulance ride was a blur, sirens, lights. The EMT kept checking the baby's heartbeat. The steady thump, thump, thump. Alive. Safe. Okay. Claire stared at her phone. The video was already everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Different angles. Someone in the coffee shop across the street had filmed through the window. You could see everything. Ashley bursting in. The attack. Claire's face. The blood. 2 million views already. The comments were brutal. Half supportive. Half asking what Claire had done to deserve this. Victim blaming in real time. "Did you provoke her?" someone wrote. "There's always 2 sides," someone else said. "That makeup artist must have done something." Claire's hands shook. She closed the app, opened it again. She couldn't stop looking, couldn't stop reading. "Ms. Morrison," and the EMT touched her shoulder. "We're here." The emergency room was bright, too bright. Doctors, nurses, questions, forms. Someone put her in a gown. Someone else attached monitors to her belly. The baby's heartbeat filled the room, strong, steady, normal. "The baby's fine," the doctor said. She was young, maybe 30, kind eyes. "Heartbeat is excellent. No signs of distress." Relief crashed over Claire. She started crying, couldn't stop. The doctor squeezed her hand. "Let's look at your face now." The mirror was unkind. 3 deep scratches, temple to jaw, angry red, already swelling. The doctor cleaned them carefully. "These are deep," she said. "Scarring is likely. We can refer you to a plastic surgeon." Scarring. Claire was a makeup artist. Her face was her brand, her business card, her walking advertisement. Women hired her because they saw her work on her own face. Now she'd be scarred. "Ms. Morrison?" A new voice. Detective Foster stood in the doorway. "May I come in?" Claire nodded. Couldn't speak. I need to take your statement, and I need to ask about Ashley Keene. What's your relationship with her? She works with my husband, his assistant, real estate office. Detective Foster wrote something down. And you didn't know about an affair? No, I didn't know. The detective's expression shifted, softened. And your husband, where is he? I don't know. He hasn't called, hasn't texted. More writing, the detective looked up. That's concerning. His wife was attacked. It's been over an hour. Over an hour, Brian knew. He had to know. The video was everywhere. His phone had to be ringing too. But he wasn't here. Claire's phone buzzed. She grabbed it, hope flickering. Maybe Brian. Maybe he was just in shock. Maybe he couldn't process. Rachel, her best friend. Oh, thank God you answered. I'm coming to the hospital right now. Which one are you at? Claire told her. Rachel was already in her car, already on the way. Of course she was. Rachel always showed up. Unlike Brian, the hospital room was quiet now. Detective Foster had left. The doctor had left. Just Jenna sitting in the corner chair, scrolling through her phone, making plans. Jenna was always making plans. I've canceled all appointments for the week, Jenna said. Studios closed. I've got the insurance company on hold. And I've got our nearby reviewing options. Claire nodded. She wasn't really listening. She was staring at her phone, willing Brian to call, to text, to explain. The door burst open. Rachel ran in, arms immediately around Claire, careful of the belly, careful of the face, but holding tight. I saw the video, Rachel said. Her voice was shaking. Everyone saw the video. I know. Rachel pulled back, looked at Claire's face, her eyes filled with tears. Oh, honey. She sat on the edge of the bed, took Claire's hand, squeezed 3 times, their signal from childhood. I'm here. You're safe. We'll survive this. Claire squeezed back 3 times. Automatic, except she didn't feel safe, and she wasn't sure she'd survive. Has Brian called? Rachel asked. No. Rachel's face hardened. Son of a... She stopped, took a breath. Okay, where is he? I don't know. Rachel grabbed her own phone, started typing. I'm calling him, right now. She put it on speaker. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times, voicemail. Brian, it's Rachel. Your wife was attacked. She's in the hospital. Call her now. Rachel hung up, immediately called again. Voicemail again. He's declining the calls, Rachel said. He knows you're calling, and he's sending it to voicemail. The words sank in slowly. Brian knew, was ignoring them, was ignoring his pregnant wife in the hospital. Claire's phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. She opened it. A photo loaded, slowly, line by line, top to bottom, Brian and Ashley, tangled in sheets, naked. The timestamp said yesterday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yesterday. When Brian said he had a client meeting, when Claire was shopping for nursery curtains alone, the sheets were familiar, blue, Egyptian cotton, the ones Claire had washed that morning. The pillows were the ones she'd fluffed. She'd been erasing evidence of her own betrayal without knowing it. Another photo came through, then another. Brian kissing Ashley in his car, Ashley wearing Claire's robe, screenshots of text messages. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone. She'll never understand me like you do. Soon, I promise. Soon we'll be together. Claire's hands went numb. The phone slipped from her fingers. Rachel caught it, looked at the screen. Her face went white. Claire, how many? Claire heard herself ask. How many photos? Rachel scrolled. 12. There's 12 photos and dozens of screenshots. Who sent them? Unknown number. Someone out there knew, had evidence, had been collecting it, waiting. For what? For this moment? For the perfect time to destroy Claire's life completely? The room was spinning. Claire lay back against the pillows. The baby kicked, protesting her elevated heartbeat, her stress hormones. Babies felt everything. I need you to breathe, Rachel said. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Claire tried, failed, tried again. The air wouldn't come. A nurse rushed in, oxygen mask, monitors beeping. The baby's heartbeat dipped. The nurse adjusted Claire's position, elevated her feet. "You're having a panic attack," the nurse said. Her voice was calm, practiced. "The baby's fine, but I need you to breathe with me. In, out, in, out." Claire followed the commands, in, out, slowly. The baby's heartbeat stabilized. The room stopped spinning. "Good," the nurse said. "Keep breathing just like that." She left. Rachel climbed into the hospital bed, carefully, held Claire's hand, didn't say anything, just held on. Claire stared at the ceiling. The fluorescent lights, the acoustic tiles. She counted them. 37, 38, 39. Her phone buzzed again. "Don't look," Rachel said. "Whatever it is, don't look." But Claire had to look, had to know. She grabbed the phone. Not a photo this time. A message. "Check your joint bank account, right now." Claire's fingers moved automatically, opening the banking app, waiting for it to load. The little circle spinning, spinning. Finally, the numbers appeared. The account showed $217. Last week, it had shown $53,217. $53,000. Gone. Their savings, the money for the nursery furniture, for her maternity leave, for emergencies, for the baby's future. Gone. Claire clicked on the transaction history. One transfer. Yesterday, 3:15 in the afternoon. While she was at her 4 o'clock client appointment. While Brian was supposedly in a meeting. $53,000 to transfer to an account she didn't recognize. She showed Rachel. Rachel's mouth fell open. "He stole your money." "Our money." "No." Rachel's voice was hard. "Your money. You earned most of them from your business." Claire had earned it, working 6 days a week, building her client list, making women beautiful for weddings and proms and job interviews and first dates. Every dollar saved carefully. For the baby, for their family, for a future that was never coming. The door opened. Claire expected a nurse, or Rachel's husband, or maybe finally Brian. Instead, a man in a suit walked in. Expensive suit, silk tie, lawyer written all over him. "Claire Morrison," he said. "Yes." "I'm Thomas Brennan. I represent Ashley Keene. I need to discuss the incident this afternoon." Rachel stood up, physically placing herself between Claire and the lawyer. "Get out." "Ma'am, I'm simply..." "Get out. My friend was assaulted by your client, on camera, in front of thousands of people. And you're here to what? Intimidate her? Threaten her?" "I'm here to discuss a resolution. The only resolution is your client goes to jail. Now leave before I call security." Thomas Brennan looked at Claire, past Rachel. "Ms. Morrison, your husband asked me to represent Ms. Keene. He's concerned about her well-being." The words didn't make sense. Claire's brain refused to process them. Brian hired Ashley a lawyer. His mistress attacked his pregnant wife. And Brian hired the mistress a lawyer. "Did you hear me?" Claire's voice sounded far away. "My husband hired you?" "Yes, Mr. Morrison is very concerned about Ms. Keene's mental state." Rachel grabbed her phone. "I'm calling security and Detective Foster and every news outlet in this city. Brian Morrison hired a lawyer for the woman who attacked his pregnant wife. That's a story." Thomas Brennan's professional mask slipped. Just for a second, worry flickered across his face. "There's no need for..." "Leave. Now." He left. The door swung shut behind him. Rachel was shaking, fury radiating off her in waves. I can't believe... I can't..." "He's protecting her," Claire said. The words were calm, too calm. Shock made everything distant. "Brian is protecting Ashley. Not me. Not the baby. Her. That's not protection. That's guilt. He's trying to control the narrative." Claire lay back against the pillows, stared at the ceiling again, counted tiles. 40, 41, 42. Her phone buzzed. The unknown number again. "There's more. Check his credit cards. The ones you don't have access to." How did this person know about separate credit cards? Who was sending these messages? Claire opened her email, found the credit card statements Brian forwarded to her each month. Joint account statements, But there were other accounts. She could see the account numbers on old statements. She tried logging in with Brian's usual password, invalid. She tried his old password, the one from 2 years ago, invalid. She tried the password he used for their Netflix account. It worked. 3 credit cards, all maxed out, $37,000 in debt. Hotels, restaurants, jewelry, all charges she'd never seen, all purchases she'd never benefited from. A hotel in Manhattan, last month. When Brian said he was visiting his mother in Boston, a jewelry store, Valentine's Day. Claire received nothing for Valentine's Day. Brian said he forgot, said he'd been too busy with work. Ashley got a necklace, $1,800. Dinner at the most expensive restaurant in the city. Their anniversary. Brian said he had to work late, couldn't celebrate, would make it up to her. He took Ashley instead. He's been living a completely separate life, Claire whispered, with her, for months. Rachel looked at the screen. Her face went from red to white. Claire, oh God, Claire. Someone knocked on the door. Both of them froze. Ms. Morrison, it's Detective Foster. Relief flooded through Claire. She called out for the detective to enter. Detective Foster came in, notepad in hand, professional expression, but her eyes were kind. I have some questions, she said, about your husband. When did you last speak with him? This morning before I left for work, around 7:30. And he knew about your live stream this afternoon? Yes, I stream every Tuesday at 2. Does he know Ashley Keene's schedule? Would he know when she'd be free? Claire thought about it. He's her boss. He'd know everything about her schedule. Detective Foster wrote something down. I need to ask you something difficult. Is it possible your husband knew about the attack before it happened? The question hung in the air, heavy, poisonous. I don't understand, Claire said, but she did understand. She just didn't want to. Ms. Morrison, someone was in the coffee shop across from your studio this afternoon. Tyler Henderson, he's a videographer. He films the area sometimes. Street scenes, B-roll footage. He has footage from outside your studio from an hour before the attack. Detective Foster pulled out her phone, showed Claire a video. Ashley pacing outside the studio, checking her phone, looking at the door, walking away, coming back, psyching herself up. For 20 minutes she paced. Then another clip, a black Mercedes pulling up, Brian's car, Ashley getting out of the passenger side, Brian staying in the driver's seat, watching her walk toward the studio door, then driving away. Your husband dropped her off, Detective Foster said, and he left. He didn't try to stop her. He just watched and drove away. The room went cold. Claire's body went numb. He knew, Rachel said. Brian knew Ashley was going to attack you, and he let it happen. We need to consider that possibility, Detective Foster said. Ms. Morrison, I need you to think carefully. Has your husband been violent before? Controlling? Has he isolated you from friends or family? Had he? Claire thought back. Through 8 years of marriage, 7 years of dating before that. He'd hated when she worked late, said she cared more about clients than him, so she'd started scheduling fewer evening appointments. He'd complained about her friends, said they were immature, dramatic, so she'd seen them less, much less. He'd managed their money, said she was too emotional about finances, so she'd let him handle everything. Trusted him. He'd criticized her weight, her clothes, her makeup choices, said he was just trying to help her look her best, so she'd changed, adapted, become what he wanted. He's been controlling me for years, Claire said. The words felt like gravel in her throat. I just called it love. Detective Foster's expression didn't change, but something in her eyes said she'd heard this before, many times before. I need you to do something for me, Detective Foster said. Don't contact your husband. Don't return his calls if he reaches out. Let us investigate. Can you do that? Claire nodded. And I need you to stay somewhere safe, not your home, not anywhere he'd expect you to be. She's staying with me, Rachel said. He doesn't know where I live. We bought the house after they got married. He's never been there. Good. I'll have a patrol car drive by periodically, just to be safe. Detective Foster left. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. Claire looked at Rachel. her best friend since third grade, the only person who'd stuck around through Brian's slow isolation campaign. How did I not see it? Claire asked. How did I marry someone capable of this? Rachel climbed back onto the bed, held Claire's hand. Because he didn't show you this person. Not until he had you trapped. That's how they work. The baby kicked. Hard, protesting the stress, the elevated cortisol. Claire put both hands on her belly, whispered apologies. Her phone buzzed. The unknown number. Last message. You deserve to know the truth. Everything I sent you today? I'm Ashley's roommate. I saw what he did to her. The promises, the manipulation. He's doing the same thing to her that he did to you. You're both his victims. I'm sorry, I should have told you sooner. Ashley's roommate. Someone who'd watched this unfold. Who'd known. Who'd waited. Do you think Ashley knows, Claire asked, about the money, about him setting up the attack? I don't know, but I think we need to find out. Tim. The hospital discharged Claire at 11 o'clock that night. Rachel drove her to the house they'd bought 3 years ago. Small, craftsman style, yellow siding, white trim. A guest room with soft blankets and a bed that wasn't contaminated with Brian's lies. Rachel's husband Mark was waiting. He hugged Claire carefully, didn't ask questions, just pointed to the guest room and said everything was ready. The room was perfect. Soft light, clean sheets, a glass of water on the nightstand, a phone charger. Everything she needed. Claire sat on the edge of the bed. She was still wearing the clothes from this afternoon. White shirt with blood on it, maternity jeans that no longer felt cute, just tight, restrictive. Rachel helped her change into borrowed pajamas, helped her wash her face, careful around the scratches. The antiseptic stung. In the mirror, Claire looked like a stranger, swollen, scratched, hollow-eyed. This wasn't the woman she'd been this morning. That woman was gone. She lay down, tried to sleep, couldn't. The baby was restless, kicking and turning, feeling everything Claire felt. At 3 in the morning, Claire gave up. She walked to the kitchen, made coffee she couldn't drink, pregnant, but went through the motions anyway, measured the grounds, added water, pressed start, the burble and hiss, the smell, a normal morning routine in abnormal circumstances. The coffee maker gurgled its final breath. She poured a cup for Rachel, for Mark, taking care of others even now, even when her own life was shattered. Then she stopped, poured the cup into the sink, watched the brown liquid swirl down the drain, steam rising. No more, she whispered to the empty kitchen. No more accommodating. No more making others comfortable while she disappeared. No more. The coffee splashed against the white porcelain. The steam curled upward, dissipated, gone. Claire stood in the silent kitchen, her hand on her belly, the baby sleeping now, finally calm. Just you and me, Claire whispered. Just you and me from now on. She didn't know how she'd do it, how she'd be a single mother and how she'd rebuild her business with a scarred face, how she'd survive this. But she would, she had to, for the baby, for herself, for the woman she'd been before Brian, the woman she was going to become again. Morning light filtered through the yellow curtains. Claire woke to the smell of bacon. Her stomach turned. Morning sickness was supposed to be over, but stress brought it back. She found Rachel in the kitchen. Making breakfast like this was any normal Wednesday. You don't have to eat, Rachel said, but I made it anyway, just in case. Claire sat at the kitchen table, looked at her phone. 273 missed calls, most from numbers she didn't know. Reporters probably. News outlets, podcasts wanting interviews. Still nothing from Brian. But there was one call from Detective Foster. At 6:15 this morning, Claire called back. Ms. Morrison, Detective Foster answered. Thank you for returning my call. I need to ask you something. Are you willing to press charges against both Ashley Keene and your husband? Against Brian for what? Financial fraud, theft, possibly conspiracy to commit assault. We're building a case, but I need your cooperation. Claire thought about it. Pressing charges meant making this real, public, permanent. It meant accepting that her marriage was over, that the man she'd loved for 15 years was a criminal. Yes, Claire said, I'll press charges. Good. I'm sending someone to take a formal statement. They'll be there within the hour. And Ms. Morrison, don't be alone with your husband, not until this is resolved. The officer arrived at 7:30, young, professional, took detailed notes, asked questions about finances, about control, about the timeline of the relationship. How long had Brian controlled the money? Always. Since they got engaged. How long had he criticized her appearance? Years. She thought he was being helpful. How long had he isolated her from friends? Gradually, over time, until she barely noticed she was alone. The officer wrote everything down, didn't judge, just documented. When he left, Claire felt emptied out, hollowed. Rachel handed her a cup of tea. Caffeine-free, pregnancy-safe. You did the right thing, Rachel said. Then why do I feel so guilty? Because he trained you to feel guilty, for having needs, for taking up space. That's what they do. Claire's phone buzzed. Not the unknown number this time. Jenna. Claire, you need to see this. The video went viral, like really viral, 50 million views, and the comments section has changed. Someone posted screenshots of Brian and Ashley, of your bank statements, everything. 50 million views. The attack that destroyed her life was now entertainment for 50 million people. Who posted the screenshots? Claire asked. Anonymous account, but Claire, public opinion has shifted. Everyone's on your side now. They're calling Brian a monster. They're calling for Ashley's arrest. And they're booking appointments at the studio. We're booked solid for 6 months. 6 months of appointments. 6 months of income. 6 months of security. I can't work like this, Claire said. She touched her face. The scratches. You look like someone who's survived, Jenna said. And women want to support you. They want to learn from you. You're not just a makeup artist anymore. You're a symbol. A symbol of what? Humiliation? Betrayal? Survival? I need time, Claire said. Take all the time you need. But Claire, don't let him take this from you too. You built this business. It's yours. After Jenna hung up, Claire scrolled through social media. The video was everywhere. Different angles, different perspectives. Her face, her blood, her humiliation, replayed over and over. But Jenna was right. The comments had changed. This is heartbreaking. Her husband is disgusting. I hope she takes him for everything. Strong woman, beautiful woman. She'll survive this. Thousands of comments, mostly supportive, mostly kind, women sharing their own stories, their own betrayals, their own survivals. Claire read them all, every single one, absorbing the words like medicine. Rachel sat beside her, silent support, just being there. I need to see the house, Claire said. Get some clothes, some things for the baby. I'll go with you. Detective Foster said I shouldn't be alone there. What if Brian shows up? Then he shows up, and we call the police. But you need your things. We're not letting him take everything. The house looked the same, red brick, black shutters, the garden Claire had planted last spring, roses blooming, oblivious to the destruction inside. Rachel parked in the driveway, hesitated. His car's not here, Rachel said, but let's be quick, in and out. They walked to the front door. Claire's hand shook as she unlocked it. Her own home, suddenly foreign, dangerous. Inside, everything was exactly as she'd left it yesterday morning. Coffee cup in the sink, her book on the living room table, the nursery door open, waiting. But it felt different, violated, like someone had broken in and rearranged everything just slightly. Nothing was where it should be. Claire walked through the rooms, kitchen, living room, bedroom, looking for evidence, for proof, for something she'd missed. In the bathroom, she found it, a long dark hair in the sink. Not hers. Claire was blonde. This hair was black. Ashley's hair. Ashley had been in their bathroom, in their home, in their bed. Claire opened the medicine cabinet, found makeup that wasn't hers, mascara, lipstick. Ashley had left her things here. Comfortable, secure, like she lived here. She moved to the bedroom, their bed. The blue sheets were still on. Claire had washed them yesterday morning. Not knowing, not seeing, she stripped the bed, threw everything in a garbage bag. The sheets, the pillowcases, the comforter, all of it. Contaminated, ruined. In the closet, half of Brian's clothes were gone. He'd packed, while she was in the hospital. While she was being treated for the wounds his mistress inflicted, he was packing his clothes. Efficient, heartless, Claire grabbed her own suitcase, started packing. Maternity clothes, comfortable shoes, the things she'd need for after the baby. She moved mechanically, robotically. Don't think, just pack. Rachel appeared in the doorway. I found something in his office. Claire followed her. Brian's office was off limits usually, his private space. She never went in, never questioned it. Now she looked around, really looked. Expensive desk, leather chair, filing cabinets, all locked. Rachel had a drawer open, files spread across the desk. He's been planning this, Rachel said. She held up a document. Divorce papers, already filled out. Dated 3 months ago. 3 months. Claire was 5 months pregnant, 3 months ago. Showing, glowing, thinking they were building a family. He was planning to leave her. There's more, Rachel said. She showed Claire another document. He transferred the house into his name only. 2 months ago. You don't own this house anymore. He had you sign something. Do you remember signing anything? Claire thought back, 2 months ago. He'd brought home papers, said it was for a business thing. She'd signed without reading, trusting him. I signed away my house, Claire whispered. He stole your house. More files, more evidence. Bank statements showing money moved to accounts Claire didn't know existed. Credit cards in his name only. A lease agreement for an apartment downtown, starting next month. He'd been planning his exit, methodically, carefully, while Claire planned the nursery, while she picked out baby clothes, while she dreamed about their family. He was planning how to leave her with nothing. Claire sat in his expensive leather chair, looked at the files, the evidence of his betrayal. Documented, organized, detailed. He's not stupid, Claire said. He knew what he was doing. Yes. He wanted to destroy me. Yes. Claire's voice broke. What did I do to deserve this? Rachel knelt beside the chair, took Claire's hands. Nothing, you did nothing. This isn't about you. This is about him, about what's broken inside him. But it felt personal. It felt like Claire had failed, like she'd missed obvious signs, like she'd been willfully blind. She thought back through the years, through the relationship, looking for the moment it went wrong. Their first date. He'd been charming, attentive, made her feel special. Chosen. Their engagement. He'd proposed in front of his entire family. Public. Pressured. She couldn't say no even if she'd wanted to, and she hadn't wanted to. She'd been swept up in it. Their wedding, his choices, his vision. Claire had wanted something small, intimate. He'd insisted on 200 guests in an expensive venue. She'd thought he just wanted to celebrate their love. Now she saw it differently. He'd wanted a show, a performance, proof of his success. The marriage, his rules, his schedule, his priorities. Claire had adapted, accommodated, made herself smaller and smaller until she almost disappeared. Then the pregnancy, unplanned. She'd been nervous to tell him, worried about his reaction. He'd smiled, kissed her, said he was thrilled. But that's when the affair started. That's when he began transferring money. That's when he started planning his exit. The pregnancy made her real, undeniable, a person who would need things, who would take up space, who couldn't be controlled anymore. So he found someone else, someone younger, someone he could mold, someone who worshipped him, until she got pregnant too. Then she became real, undeniable, just like Claire. He's going to do it to her too, Claire said, to Ashley. He's going to destroy her just like he destroyed me. Probably. She doesn't know. She thinks she's special, different. She thinks he loves her, just like you did. Claire stood, grabbed the divorce papers, the bank statements, the house transfer, all of it, evidence, proof, ammunition. We're taking this to Detective Foster, Claire said. All of it, he's not getting away with this. They loaded the boxes into Rachel's car, took Claire's suitcase, locked the door behind them. As they pulled out of the driveway, Claire looked back at the house. The home she'd thought they were building, the life she'd thought they were creating. All a lie, all an illusion. But she was free of it now, free of him. The thought should have been liberating. Instead, it was terrifying. Detective Foster met them at the police station, looked through the files, photographed everything. Her expression remained neutral, but her jaw got tighter with each document. "This is worse than I thought," Detective Foster said. "Financial fraud, forgery, identity theft. Ms. Morrison, your husband has committed multiple felonies." "What happens now?" Claire asked. "We build a case, we arrest him, but I need you to be prepared. This is going to get worse before it gets better. The media attention, the legal process, his retaliation." Retaliation? Men like Brian Morrison don't take accountability well. He's going to blame you, paint himself as the victim. It's called DARVO, deny attack, reverse victim and offender. Claire thought about Thomas Brennan, the lawyer Brian hired for Ashley, already building his defense, already controlling the narrative. "I'm ready," Claire said, but she wasn't sure if that was true. Detective Foster handed her a business card. "This is Margaret Hartley, best divorce attorney in the city. She handles high-conflict cases. I've already spoken with her. She's expecting your call." Claire took the card, looked at the name. Margaret Hartley, Esquire, family law specialist. Family law. What a gentle term for marriages being dismantled, for lives being divided, for futures being destroyed. "Call her today," Detective Foster said. "The sooner you have legal representation, the better." Well, Margaret Hartley's office was downtown. Sleek, professional, expensive looking. Claire felt out of place in her maternity clothes and bandaged face, but the receptionist smiled warmly, didn't stare at the scratches. "Ms. Morrison, Ms. Hartley will see you now." Margaret Hartley was in her late 40s, sharp blazer, kind eyes. She stood when Claire entered, shook her hand gently. "Please sit. Can I get you anything? Water? Tea?" "Water, please." Margaret poured water from a glass pitcher, handed it to Claire, sat across from her in a comfortable chair. "Not behind the desk, equals." "I've seen the video," Margaret said, "and I've spoken with Detective Foster. I know some of what you're dealing with, but I need to hear it from you. Start at the beginning." Claire told her everything: the attack, the affair, the money, the house, the divorce papers, the systematic isolation and control, years of it, normalized, invisible. Margaret took notes, asked questions, didn't judge, just listened. "Your husband is a classic narcissist," Margaret said. "The control, the financial abuse, the affair, the way he orchestrated your humiliation. It follows a pattern I've seen dozens of times." "So I'm not crazy? I didn't imagine it?" "No, you're not crazy. You were abused, emotionally, financially. He manipulated you for years, got you to doubt your own instincts. That's gaslighting. That's abuse." The words hit hard. Abuse. Claire had never thought of it that way. Brian never hit her, never screamed. He was just particular, controlling, specific about how he wanted things. But that was abuse too. "Can I get my house back?" Claire asked. "We'll fight for it. The signature on the transfer document was obtained through fraud. He lied about what you were signing. That makes it voidable. But it will take time. Months. Maybe longer." "What about the money?" "Same thing. Theft from a joint account during marriage. We can recover it, but again it takes time." Time. Claire didn't have time. She was 8 months pregnant. She needed stability, security, a home for her baby. "I know this feels overwhelming," Margaret said, "but you're going to get through this, and you're going to get everything you're entitled to. The house, the money, full custody, child support. We're going to make sure you and your baby are taken care of." Claire started crying, couldn't help it. Margaret handed her a tissue, waited, didn't rush her. "I'm sorry," Claire said. "I don't know why I'm crying." "You're crying because someone finally validated you, because someone finally said, yes, you were hurt, and it wasn't your fault." That's a powerful thing. They talked for another hour about the divorce process, the restraining order, the criminal charges, the timeline, the strategy. When Claire left, she had a plan, a legal team, a path forward. It didn't make her feel better, but it made her feel less alone. Rachel drove her back to the house, the yellow house with the guest room, the temporary home. Claire needed to start thinking of it as her home, her space, her sanctuary. They stopped at a store on the way, bought prenatal vitamins, crackers for morning sickness, lavender lotion, small comforts. In the checkout line, the cashier recognized Claire, stared at her face, the scratches, the bruises starting to form. "You're the makeup lady," the cashier said. "From the video." Claire froze. She'd known this would happen, that she'd be recognized. But knowing and experiencing were different. "Yes," Claire said, "that's me. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That man, your husband, he's awful, just awful." Other people in line were turning, looking, whispering. Claire wanted to disappear, to sink through the floor, but she was 8 months pregnant. She couldn't hide, couldn't make herself small. "Thank you," Claire said. She didn't know what else to say. "You're so brave. Going out, showing your face. If it was me, I'd hide forever." Rachel stepped forward. "Can we just pay, please?" The cashier rang them up, still talking, still staring. Claire paid cash, didn't make eye contact, grabbed the bags and walked out as fast as her pregnant body allowed. In the car, she broke down, sobbing, gasping for air. The baby kicked frantically, protesting. "Breathe," Rachel said. "Claire, breathe with me. I can't do this. Everyone knows. Everyone's seen it. I can't be that person. The victim. The joke. You're not a joke. You're a survivor. And yes, people know, but they're on your side." "Did you hear her? She called you brave." "I'm not brave. I'm terrified." "Brave people are terrified. They just do it anyway." Claire focused on breathing. In, on, out. The baby slowly calmed. The panic receded. "I don't want to be famous for this," Claire said. "I don't want to be the woman who got attacked on camera. I want to be me. Just me. You are you. The attack doesn't define you. What you do next defines you." What she did next, Claire didn't know what came next. She was 8 months pregnant, scarred, betrayed, homeless in all the ways that mattered. But she had Rachel. She had Jenna. She had Detective Foster and Margaret Hartley. She had women supporting her, strangers sending messages, clients booking appointments. She had more than she thought. And she had her baby, growing inside her, depending on her, needing her. She had to be brave, for the baby, for herself, even if it was terrifying. 3 days passed, no word from Brian, no calls, no texts, no apologies, just silence. The silence was worse than anything he could have said. Claire stayed in Rachel's guest room, slept fitfully, woke at 3 a.m. every night, the baby restless, turning, kicking, feeling everything Claire felt. At 3:15 on Friday morning, Claire gave up on sleep, went to the kitchen, made tea, sat at the table in the dark. Her phone lit up. The unknown number. Ashley's roommate. "I need to tell you something. Ashley's pregnant. 3 months. Brian wanted her to get rid of it. She refused. That's why he hit her. That's why she attacked you. She thought if you saw how crazy she was, Brian would choose her. He manipulated both of you." 3 months pregnant, Ashley was carrying Brian's baby, just like Claire was carrying Brian's baby. 2 women, 2 pregnancies, one man destroying both of them. Claire's hands shook. She put down the phone, stared at it. Ashley was a victim too, not just an evil mistress, a young woman who'd been manipulated, lied to, abused, just like Claire. The front door opened. Rachel came into the kitchen, sleep rumpled, concerned. "Can't sleep?" Rachel asked. "Ashley's pregnant." Rachel sat down hard. "What?" 3 months. Brian wanted her to terminate. She refused. He hit her. That's what started all of this. Oh my God. We're the same. Me and Ashley. We're both just women he used, women he discarded when we became real, when we needed things. Rachel made tea, sat across from Claire, held her hand. "What are you going to do?" Rachel asked. "I don't know, but I need to talk to her, to Ashley. She needs to know who he really is. before he destroys her completely. Detective Foster arranged the meeting. Saturday afternoon at the police station, safe, neutral, supervised. Claire hadn't seen Ashley since the attack. 5 days ago, a lifetime ago. Ashley sat in the interview room, young, scared, a black eye, split lip, bruises on her arms. Brian had beaten her, recently. Claire walked in. Ashley flinched, looked away, shame written across her face. "I'm sorry," Ashley whispered. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking." Claire sat down across from her, studied this girl, 26 years old, a decade younger than Claire, barely an adult. "He told you I was awful, didn't he?" Claire said. "He told you I was cold, mean, that I didn't love him, that I wouldn't let him have children." Ashley looked up, surprised. "How did you—" "Because that's what narcissists do. They isolate you, make you think you're special, different, better than the wife. They make you fall in love with a person who doesn't exist." Ashley started crying. "He said you were controlling, that you spent all his money, that you trapped him with the baby." "I didn't trap him. The baby was an accident, but I wanted her. He said he wanted her too. He lied. He lied to me too, about everything. He said he'd leave you, that we'd be together, that we'd have a family. Then I got pregnant and he changed, became someone I didn't recognize. He hit you." "Yes, 3 days before I attacked you, he said I ruined everything, that I was just like you, needy, demanding, selfish." Claire recognized the words. Brian had said similar things to her, when she asked for help with laundry, when she wanted to go to dinner with friends, when she dared to have needs. "You're not the villain in my story," Claire said. "We're both victims in his." Ashley sobbed, broken, destroyed. "I attacked you. I hurt you. I hurt your baby. How can you sit here and talk to me?" "Because I understand. I understand how he manipulates, how he makes you feel crazy, how he gets inside your head and rewrites reality. You thought you were saving him. I thought I was supporting him. We were both just trying to love someone incapable of love." "He took money from you," Ashley said. "The $53,000. He said it was for an apartment for us, for the baby. He promised me security, a future. He lied about that too. I don't know where the money went." Claire knew. Gambling, another woman, drugs, something. Men like Brian always had another secret, another betrayal, another lie. "He's still with you?" Claire asked. "No, he left. After he hit me, said I was dead weight, that both of us were dead weight. You and me, two pregnant women ruining his life. Two pregnant women, two inconvenient realities. Two reminders that he wasn't the center of the universe." "He doesn't get to ruin us," Claire said. "Either of us, we get to decide what happens next." "How? How do we survive this?" "I don't know, but we start by telling the truth. All of it. No more protecting him. No more making excuses." Detective Foster knocked on the door, came in, looked at both women. "Ashley," Detective Foster said, "Claire has told us about financial abuse, emotional manipulation, gaslighting. Do you have similar experiences?" Ashley nodded. "He controlled everything. Where I went, who I talked to, what I wore. He said it was because he loved me, because he wanted to protect me. But it wasn't protection. It was control." "Would you be willing to testify about the abuse, about how he encouraged the attack?" Ashley looked at Claire. "Will it help?" "Yes," Detective Foster said. "It will establish a pattern. It will show premeditation, and it might help convict him." "Then yes, I'll testify. I'll tell everyone what he did." They talked for 3 hours. Ashley, Claire, Detective Foster, building a timeline, documenting abuse, creating a case. Ashley revealed more. Brian had hit her multiple times, always where bruises wouldn't show. He'd taken money from her too, maxed out her credit cards, told her she was worthless. Stupid. Lucky he even looked at her. The same words he'd said to Claire. The same tactics. When they finished, Ashley looked at Claire. "I know you probably hate me. I understand, but thank you for listening, for not making this worse." "I don't hate you," Claire said. "I pity us both. We deserved better. Will you be okay? With the baby? I don't know, will you? I don't know either, I'm scared. Me too. They weren't friends, would never be friends, but they weren't enemies either. They were just two women Brian had tried to destroy, two women who were refusing to stay destroyed. As Claire left the police station, her phone rang. Margaret Hartley. We have a problem, Margaret said. Brian's filed for divorce, and he's claiming you committed adultery, that the baby isn't his. He wants a paternity test, and he wants nothing to do with child support or custody. Claire stopped walking. The words didn't make sense. He's claiming I cheated? Yes, it's a common tactic. Deny, attack, reverse. He's trying to control the narrative. Make you the villain. Rage flooded through Claire, hot, red, consuming. She'd spent 8 years being accommodating, pleasant, understanding, making herself smaller for his comfort. No more. Schedule the paternity test, Claire said. Her voice was cold, hard. And tell Brian I'm coming for everything. The house, the money, the business, everything he has. He wants a war. He's got one. Margaret filed motion after motion. Discovery requests, subpoenas. Claire signed everything, authorized everything. She was done protecting Brian, done making his life easier. The paternity test was scheduled for Wednesday, 2 weeks after the attack. Claire's face was healing, the scratches fading to pink lines. Still visible, still there. Reminders. Brian showed up at the clinic, first time she'd seen him in person since the hospital. He looked the same, perfectly groomed, expensive suit, fake smile. He didn't look at Claire, didn't acknowledge her, just signed the paperwork and gave his DNA sample. Claire watched him, this stranger she'd loved, this man who'd systematically destroyed her. He felt nothing, no guilt, no shame, no remorse. She felt everything. Rage, hurt, betrayal, but also something new, something sharp and clear. Resolve. The results would take a week. Margaret assured her it was a formality. The baby was clearly Brian's, but they had to go through the motions, had to play his game. In the meantime, the criminal investigation continued. Detective Foster called regularly. Updates, questions, strategy. We need Brian on record, Detective Foster said, admitting what he did, the theft, the manipulation, the setup. We have evidence, but his confession would seal the case. How do we get that? We wire someone he trusts, someone he'll talk to openly. Ashley, Claire said, she's the only one left who he might talk to. Detective Foster hesitated. It's risky. If he suspects anything, he could become violent. We'd have officers nearby, but it's still dangerous. Ask her, Claire said. She deserves the chance to take him down. Ashley agreed immediately. No hesitation. She wanted justice for herself, for Claire, for their babies. They set it up for Friday night, Brian's apartment downtown. The one he'd leased, thinking he'd be there with Ashley. Starting his new life, free from Claire. Instead, he was there alone, broke, angry, desperate, perfect conditions for a confession. Ashley wore the wire, a small device hidden under her shirt. Police parked outside. Detective Foster, 2 uniforms. Margaret insisted Claire stay at Rachel's house. Too dangerous, too unpredictable. But Claire watched the feed, video and audio, live, from Rachel's living room. Rachel beside her, Jenna on the couch, all of them watching. Ashley knocked on Brian's door. He answered immediately, smiled, pulled her inside, kissed her. Claire's stomach turned. Rachel squeezed her hand. Baby, Brian said, I'm so glad you came. I've missed you. I've missed you too. Ashley's voice was steady, practiced. I've been thinking about us, about what happened. I know. It's been crazy, but it's going to be fine. Claire's just being dramatic, making this bigger than it needs to be. She pressed charges against both of us. Brian's expression hardened. I know, but it doesn't matter. She has nothing, no proof, no case. It's all emotion. But the money, the $53,000, she has bank records. That was my money. I earned it. She just happened to have access to the account. It's not theft. And the house? She says you forged her signature. She's lying. She signed willingly. She's just trying to get more in the divorce. Every word was a lie, every sentence a manipulation. Claire watched Brian's face, calm, confident, completely convinced of his own narrative. "What about me?" Ashley asked. "What about the baby?" Brian's face changed. Irritation flickered across it. "Ashley, we talked about this. You need to take care of that. Soon, before it's too late." "I don't want to. This is our baby. It's a mistake, a problem, one you need to fix. You said you loved me, that we'd have a family. I said what I needed to keep you happy, to keep you quiet, but I never meant it. I never wanted this." Ashley's voice shook. "You never loved me?" "Love?" Brian laughed. "Cold, cruel." "Ashley, you were convenient, young, eager, easy to control. But love? No, I don't love you. I don't love anyone." In Rachel's living room, Claire felt something crack. Not heartbreak, something else, relief, vindication, truth. He'd finally said it. Who he really was, what he really believed. Ashley kept going, following the script. "What about Claire? Did you love her?" "Claire was a means to an end. She had connections, a business, money. She made me look good, stable, successful. But love? No, she was too needy, too emotional. I was going to leave her eventually. The baby just made it happen sooner." "You planned the attack," Ashley said. "You dropped me off at her studio. You knew what I was going to do." "I encouraged you, gave you the address, told you exactly when she'd be streaming. I needed her broken, humiliated, so she'd sign the divorce papers without a fight, give me everything, but you went too far, made it too public, ruined the plan. You used me. Of course I used you. That's what people are for. Taking what you need, then moving on. You hit me. You deserved it. Getting pregnant, being careless, trying to trap me, just like Claire. You're all the same, thinking you can control me, own me. Nobody owns me." Claire heard everything, every word, every confession, every truth. Detective Foster's voice came through the radio. "We're moving in. Now." The apartment door crashed open. Police flooded in. Brian's face went white, then purple with rage. "What the—" He saw the wire, saw Ashley backing away. Understood. "You recorded me? You set me up?" "You set yourself up," Detective Foster said. "Brian Morrison, you're under arrest for financial fraud, theft, conspiracy to commit assault, and domestic violence." They read him his rights, handcuffed him. Brian was screaming. Threats, promises, denials. "This is entrapment, illegal. My lawyer will—" "Your confession was voluntary," Detective Foster said. "And we have every word recorded. You're done." They let him out. Ashley collapsed on the couch, crying, shaking. An officer stayed with her, got her water, made sure she was okay. In Rachel's living room, Claire sat perfectly still, watching the screen, the empty apartment, the evidence of Brian's life, his lies, his destruction. "It's over," Rachel said. "Claire, it's over." But it wasn't over, not yet. Claire knew this was just the beginning, the trial, the divorce, the custody battle, the media circus, everything still ahead. But for the first time in 8 years, she felt something that had been missing. Hope. The video of Brian's arrest went viral. Of course it did. Everything about Claire's life was viral now. Entertainment for millions. The comments were vicious, mostly toward Brian, calling him every name imaginable, demanding justice, demanding consequences. A few comments defended him. Said Claire must have done something. Women always did something. Men didn't just become monsters. Claire didn't read the comments anymore. Jenna had taken over her social media, posting updates, managing messages, protecting Claire from the worst of it. The paternity test results came back. The baby was Brian's, obviously, but now it was official, documented, undeniable. Margaret used the results to file for full custody, child support. Brian contested everything, claimed he wanted shared custody, claimed he was a devoted father. The recordings proved otherwise. In his own words, he'd said he never wanted the baby, that Claire was trying to trap him, that he planned to have nothing to do with the child. The judge wasn't sympathetic, ordered Brian to stay away from Claire, granted temporary full custody to Claire, set child support at $3,500 per month. Brian's lawyer protested, said Brian couldn't afford that much. He'd lost his job. His business was under investigation. His assets were frozen. The judge didn't care. Your client made choices. Now he deals with consequences. Claire left the courthouse feeling empty. She'd won, but it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving, barely. She went back to the house. Her house, the one Brian had stolen. Margaret got it back. The judge voided the transfer. Fraud. Forgery. Claire owned her home again, but it didn't feel like home. It felt like a crime scene, like evidence, like a monument to her own blindness. She walked through the rooms. Everything was exactly as she'd left it 3 weeks ago. Before the attack, before her life shattered, the nursery was still half finished. Crib assembled, walls painted, the dresser she'd refinished sitting in the corner, by herself, while Brian was with Ashley. Claire sat in the rocking chair, hand on her belly. The baby was moving, rolling, running out of room. 2 weeks until her due date. 2 weeks until everything changed again. Just you and me, Claire whispered. Just you and me now. But the words felt hollow, terrifying. How was she going to do this? Be a single mother, run a business, survive on 3 hours of sleep, handle night feedings and diaper changes, and all of it alone. Brian would provide nothing, not emotionally, not physically, just money. Court-ordered money he'd resent every month. The baby would grow up knowing her father didn't want her, didn't choose her, saw her as a trap, a burden, an inconvenience. How did Claire protect her from that truth? She rocked back and forth, the chair creaking, the sound familiar, comforting. Her mother had rocked her in a chair like this, her grandmother before that. Generations of women, rocking babies, surviving. Claire's phone rang. Ashley. Hello? Claire answered. I just wanted to check on you, Ashley said. I know the hearing was today. How did it go? I got full custody. He has to pay child support. He's not allowed near me. That's good. That's really good. Silence. Awkward. They weren't friends. Probably never would be, but they were connected now, forever tied by Brian's destruction. How are you doing? Claire asked. With the baby? Scared. I'm 3 months, still morning sickness, still exhausted, and completely alone. My family won't speak to me. My friends think I'm crazy. I have nobody. Claire understood that. The isolation, the shame, the feeling that you'd made your own mess and deserved to lie in it. You have me, Claire said. The words surprised her, but they were true. Not as a friend, but as someone who understands, someone who's been where you are. Ashley started crying. Thank you. You don't have to be kind to me, but thank you. We're both surviving him. That makes us allies. They talked for 20 minutes about pregnancies, about fears, about futures that felt impossible. When they hung up, Claire felt marginally less alone. She stood, walked to the nursery window, looked out at the street. Normal people living normal lives, going to work, coming home, cooking dinner, watching TV, simple, easy, uncomplicated. Claire wanted that. She wanted boring. She wanted anonymous. She wanted a life that wasn't viral content, but that wasn't her life anymore. Maybe it never would be again. At 3 in the morning, Claire woke to wetness. She thought maybe she'd wet the bed. Pregnancy did that sometimes. Loss of bladder control. Embarrassing. Normal. But this was different. Too much. Too sudden. Her water had broken. She grabbed her phone. Called Rachel. No answer. Called again. Rachel's sleepy voice answered. Claire, what's wrong? My water broke. The baby's coming. Rachel was instantly alert. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Do not move. Do not panic. Just breathe. Claire tried to breathe. Failed. The contractions started, sharp, regular, every 5 minutes. The baby was 2 weeks early, but not dangerously early. Just eager, ready, done waiting. Rachel arrived, helped Claire to the car, drove fast but safely, got to the hospital in 20 minutes. Labor and delivery, nurses, monitors, questions, forms. Claire's mind was fuzzy. focused only on pain, breathing, surviving. "Who do you want us to call?" the nurse asked. "The father?" "No father," Claire said. "Just me." The nurse nodded, didn't judge, didn't pry, just wrote it down. Labor lasted 14 hours, long, painful, exhausting. Rachel stayed the whole time, coaching, encouraging, being the partner Brian should have been. At 5:23 in the afternoon, Claire's daughter was born. 7 pounds, 6 ounces, perfect, healthy, screaming. They placed her on Claire's chest, warm, wet, alive. Claire looked at her face, her tiny features, her scrunched expression. She looked like Claire, the nose, the chin, the shape of her eyes. No trace of Brian, just pure potential, pure future. "Hi, baby," Claire whispered. "Hi, Grace." Grace, for the grace Claire had found in herself, the grace to survive, the grace to start over. Grace Elizabeth Morrison, a name that meant beauty, hope, new beginnings. The nurse took Grace, cleaned her, weighed her, did all the necessary checks, then brought her back. Wrapped in a pink blanket, wearing a tiny hat, Claire held her, stared at her, counted her fingers, counted her toes, memorized her face. "You're going to be okay," Claire whispered. "I promise. I'm going to make sure you're okay." Rachel took photos, sent them to Jenna, to Margaret, to Detective Foster, to the women who'd helped Claire survive. Not to Brian. He didn't deserve to see her, to know her, to claim her. Grace was Claire's, only Claire's, born from pain, born from betrayal, but also born from strength, from survival, from love, born uncomplicated, unconditional love. Grace was 2 weeks old. Claire was exhausted, more tired than she'd ever been in her life. Night feedings every 2 hours, diaper changes, crying, soothing, repeat, but also joy, fierce, overwhelming, all-consuming joy. Grace was perfect. Every noise she made, every face, every tiny movement, perfect. Rachel came over daily, brought food, did laundry, held Grace so Claire could shower, sleep, breathe. Jenna came too, with flowers, with gifts, with plans. "When are you coming back?" Jenna asked. "The studio needs you. Your clients need you." "I don't know. I'm barely holding it together here." "Then we bring the studio to you. We do in-home appointments, private consultations, on your schedule, with Grace right there." Claire looked at her daughter, sleeping in the bassinet, peaceful, oblivious to her complicated entry into the world. "I can't work like this," Claire said. She touched her face, the scars still pink, still visible. "You look like someone who survived," Jenna said. "And that's exactly why women want to book with you. You're real, you're human, you're not perfect, and that's powerful." Claire thought about it, going back to work, facing clients, showing her scars, being vulnerable, being real. It was terrifying. But maybe Jenna was right. Maybe vulnerability was power. "Okay," Claire said. "One appointment, one client. Let's see what happens." The first client was Sarah, a woman in her 40s, booking for her daughter's wedding. She came to Claire's house, knocked nervously. Claire answered. Grace in her arms, no makeup, hair in a messy bun, yoga pants and an oversized shirt. "I'm sorry," Claire said. "This is probably not what you expected." Sarah smiled. "This is exactly what I expected. Real life, real woman, real mother. Thank you for letting me into your home." They sat in the living room. Claire did Sarah's makeup while Grace slept in the bassinet nearby. They talked about the wedding, about Sarah's daughter, about life. Sarah didn't ask about the attack, didn't mention the video, just treated Claire like a person, like an artist, like someone whose skill mattered more than her trauma. When Claire finished, Sarah looked in the mirror, started crying. "You made me look like myself," Sarah said. "Just better, just more polished, not different, not fake, just me." That's what good makeup should do. Sarah paid, tipped generously, booked her daughter and 4 bridesmaids for appointments, hugged Claire carefully, left. Claire closed the door, looked at Grace, at her daughter sleeping peacefully, at the money in her hand. She'd done it, worked, earned money, provided, with scars, with a newborn, with a life that was messy and complicated and hard. She'd done it. Nah. Word spread. Claire's in-home appointments became legendary, intimate, personal, real. Women booked months in advance, not despite the scars, not even because of the story, but because Claire was good, talented, skilled, and because she understood something now that she hadn't before. Beauty wasn't about hiding, it was about revealing, not covering up, but uncovering. She started filming again. Tutorials on Instagram, on YouTube, but different now, more honest, more raw. She showed her scars, talked about healing, about survival, about doing your makeup with a baby crying in the background, about life being messy, about that being okay. Her followers multiplied, hundreds of thousands, then millions. Women connected with her honesty, her authenticity, her refusal to pretend everything was fine. Everything wasn't fine. She was a single mother, scarred, betrayed, broke, exhausted, but she was surviving, and that mattered. Brian's trial was set for 6 months away. Margaret said it would probably get delayed. These things always did. But the evidence was strong, the recordings, the documents, Ashley's testimony, Claire's testimony. Brian would go to prison, not for long, maybe 2 years, maybe less. White-collar crime rarely got serious time, but it was something. Acknowledgement, consequences, justice. Ashley had her baby, a boy. She named him James, after her father. She sent Claire a photo. Tiny, perfect, innocent, 2 babies, born from Brian's destruction, but not destroyed by it, thriving despite him. Ashley got a giant job, retail, part-time. Her mother agreed to watch James while she worked. Slowly, her family was coming around, seeing that she'd been manipulated, upset, not evil, just young, naive. She texted Claire sometimes. Updates, questions, shared experiences. They weren't friends, but they were allies, survivors, warriors. Grace was 3 months old when Claire went back to the studio. Jenna had converted the back office into a nursery. Crib, changing table, rocking chair, everything Claire needed. Grace came to work, slept in the office during appointments. Claire would pause between clients, feed her, change her, cuddle her, then go back to work. Her clients loved it. Seeing the baby, seeing real life, seeing that successful women didn't have to be perfect, could be messy, could be real. The studio thrived, not despite Claire's story, because of it, because she'd shown women that survival was possible, that starting over was possible, that you could build a life from rubble. One afternoon, a woman came in, late 30s, nervous. She sat in Claire's chair, didn't speak. Claire started doing her makeup, gentle, professional, creating space for whatever the woman needed to say. Finally, she spoke. "My husband hit me last week for the first time, and I don't know what to do." Claire's hands paused. She looked at the woman in the mirror, saw herself, saw Ashley, saw every woman who'd ever been hurt and blamed herself. "You leave," Claire said. "That's what you do. You pack a bag, you go somewhere safe, you call the police, you press charges, you start over." "But I love him." "Love shouldn't hurt. Love shouldn't leave bruises. Love shouldn't make you afraid." He said he was sorry. They always say sorry until the next time, and there's always a next time. The woman started crying. Claire stopped working, just held her hand. "Let her cry then." "I'm scared," the woman said. "I know. I was scared too. I'm still scared. But being scared and staying is worse than being scared and leaving. At least when you leave, you have a chance." The woman nodded. Claire gave her Detective Foster's card, gave her Margaret Hartley's card, gave her the number for the women's shelter. "You deserve better," Claire said. "You deserve safety. You deserve love that doesn't hurt." The woman left. Claire didn't know if she'd call, if she'd leave, if she'd survive. But she'd planted a seed. That's all anyone could do. Plant seeds. Hope they grew. Grace woke up crying, hungry. Claire picked her up, fed her, rocked her, sang to her softly. "You're going to know your worth," Claire whispered. "From the very beginning. You're going to know you deserve respect, kindness, safety, and you're going to know what to do if someone tries to take that from you. You're going to run fast and far, and you're going to survive." Grace stopped crying, looked up at Claire with serious eyes, like she understood, like she was listening. "Just you and me, baby girl. Just you and me." 6 months passed. Grace was growing, smiling, laughing, reaching for things, discovering the world. Claire was healing. The scars faded. Still there. Always there, but softer now. Silvery lines instead of angry red. Part of her face, part of her story. She stopped covering them completely. Sometimes she wore makeup, sometimes she didn't. Depending on her mood, her energy, her day, her clients didn't care. They came for her skill, her honesty, her humanity. The studio expanded. Jenna hired 2 more artists, both survivors. One escaped domestic violence, one recovered from addiction. Women who understood pain, who understood transformation. The studio became more than a makeup space. It became a sanctuary. Women came to be beautified, but also to be heard, seen, validated. Claire trained her artists in that. How to listen, how to hold space, how to see past the makeup to the person underneath. Brian's trial finally happened. Claire testified. So did Ashley. So did Detective Foster. So did the bank manager who'd seen the fraudulent transfers. So did Brian's former business partner who'd discovered embezzlement. The evidence was overwhelming. The recordings damning. Brian's defense crumbled. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. Financial fraud, theft, conspiracy to commit assault, domestic violence against Ashley. The judge showed no mercy. "You systematically destroyed 2 women," the judge said. "You manipulated them, abused them, tried to break them, and you showed no remorse. This court finds you guilty on all counts." Brian screamed, denied, blamed, accused. Guards dragged him out, still screaming, still refusing accountability. Claire watched, felt nothing. No satisfaction, no joy, not even relief. Just emptiness where he used to be. Ashley sat beside her. They'd come together. Support, solidarity, survival. "It's over," Ashley whispered. "Yes. Do you feel better?" "I don't know. Do you?" "I don't know either. I thought I'd feel something, victory or closure or something. But I just feel tired." Claire understood that. The exhaustion of survival, of fighting, of refusing to be destroyed. It was work, constant, draining, necessary work, but exhausting. Linda Morrison came to Claire's house, Brian's mother. They hadn't spoken since the arrest. Linda had chosen her son, defended him, denied everything, until she couldn't anymore, until the evidence was undeniable, until the trial made it real. Now she stood on Claire's porch, nervous, ashamed. "Can I come in?" Linda asked. Claire hesitated. This woman had called her a liar, had accused her of trapping Brian, had chosen him over her own grandchild. But Linda looked broken, aged, destroyed by truth. "Come in," Claire said. They sat in the living room, Grace and her bouncer, playing with toys, oblivious to the tension. "I need to apologize," Linda said. "I need to tell you what I know about Brian, about his father, about how I failed to protect you." Claire listened. Linda talked about Brian's father, Peter Morrison, dead 5 years now, narcissist, abuser, controller. Brian had learned from him, watched him manipulate Linda for 30 years, saw how it worked, how to isolate, how to gaslight, how to make someone doubt their own reality. Linda stayed for 30 years, thinking she could change him, thinking love was enough, thinking her children needed a father. She was wrong. Her children learned abuse. Her daughter cut contact at 18. Her son became his father. The cycle repeated. "I saw the signs with you," Linda said. "I saw how he controlled you, how he made you small. But I said nothing. I told myself it was different, that Brian was different, that you were fine. Why didn't you warn me?" "Because I'd have to admit my own life was a lie. that I'd wasted 30 years, that I'd raised a monster, and I wasn't ready to admit that. Claire looked at Grace, at her daughter, at the next generation. Breaking cycles started here, with truth, with accountability, with refusing to protect abusers. "Thank you for telling me," Claire said, "but I can't forgive you, not yet. Maybe not ever. You chose him. You let him hurt me. You abandoned your grandchild." "I know, I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know the truth. And I wanted you to know I'm testifying against Brian, about Peter, about the pattern, about everything." Linda kept her word. She testified about growing up watching abuse, about learning to manipulate, about Brian's father teaching him that women existed to serve, to accommodate, to disappear. The testimony was devastating, not just for Brian's case, for his appeal, for any chance of early release. The pattern was established, documented, undeniable. Brian would serve his full sentence, maybe more if he violated parole. Claire received a letter from Brian in prison. She almost threw it away. Didn't want his words, his excuses, his manipulation. But curiosity won. She opened it. The letter was exactly what she expected. Denials, blame, accusations. He was the victim. Everyone conspired against him. The recording was entrapment. The trial was unfair. Claire and Ashley were liars. Linda betrayed him. Nothing was his fault. Nothing was his responsibility. Everyone else was wrong. He was innocent. Claire read it once, then burned it. Watched the paper curl and blacken and turn to ash. Watched Brian's words disappear, turn to nothing. She took the ashes, mixed them with soil, planted a rose bush in her garden. Beauty from destruction, life from death, something good from something poisonous. The rose bush thrived, bloomed bright red, resilient, strong, refusing to be destroyed by the poison in its soil. Like Claire, like Ashley, like Linda, like all the women who'd survived Brian's destruction. Growing, blooming, thriving despite him. Claire started speaking publicly. At women's shelters, at recovery centers, at colleges, sharing her story, not for attention, not for fame, but to help, to show women they weren't alone, weren't crazy, weren't weak. Abuse looked like many things, not just bruises, not just violence. Sometimes it looked like love, like care, like protection, until it didn't, until the mask slipped, until you were trapped. But you could escape, you could survive, you could rebuild. Claire was proof, living proof. Her speeches went viral. Of course they did. Everything about her life was viral now. But this time she controlled the narrative. She told her own story, her own way. Women reached out, thousands of them, sharing their stories, asking for help, thanking her for speaking, for seeing them, for making them feel less alone. Claire couldn't help all of them. She was just one person, but she could plant seeds. She could point to resources. She could say, "You're not crazy, and you deserve better, and you can survive this." Sometimes that was enough. Sometimes one person believing in you made all the difference. 1 year after the attack, Claire stood in her studio, Grace on her hip, looking at the wall of client photos. Brides, graduates, women celebrating, women surviving, women thriving. Her studio was successful, more successful than ever. Not because of the video, but because of the work, the skill, the heart. She'd built this from nothing, from rubble, from ashes. The scars were barely visible now, thin silver lines, easy to cover with makeup if she wanted, but she usually didn't. They were part of her face, part of her story, part of her survival. She wasn't the same woman she'd been a year ago. That woman died in some ways. The accommodating woman, the small woman, the woman who apologized for existing. The new Claire took up space, said no, set boundaries, demanded respect. The new Claire was a mother, an entrepreneur, a survivor, a voice. The new Claire was enough, exactly as she was. Ashley came by, James toddling beside her, 13 months old, into everything. Curious, happy. "How are you?" Claire asked. Better, not good, but better. Therapy helps. Good. They watch their children play together. Grace and James, cousins, kind of, half-siblings. Technically, but more than that, survivors' children, born from the same destruction, thriving despite it. Do you think they'll be okay? Ashley asked. Growing up without a father? I think they'll be better than okay. They'll be loved, supported, protected. They'll know their worth. That's more than a lot of kids get. I worry James will ask about him someday. Ask why his father doesn't love him. Then you tell him the truth, that his father was broken, that some people can't love, not because of anything James did, but because of what was missing inside his father. Ashley nodded. Do you ever regret it, having Grace, knowing who her father is? Claire looked at her daughter, playing, laughing, full of life and joy and possibility. Never, not for a single second. She's the best thing I've ever done, the best thing that ever happened to me. And Brian has nothing to do with that. She's mine, only mine. Claire recorded a new video, her living room, Grace in the background. No perfect lighting, no professional setup, just real life. Hi everyone, Claire said. I want to talk to you about something, about transformation, about what it really means. She paused, gathered her thoughts. A year ago, my life exploded, very publicly, very painfully. You all watched it happen, and I know many of you have been waiting for the ending, the resolution, the transformation montage where everything gets better. Grace babbled, Claire smiled. But that's not how life works. There's no montage, no instant transformation, just daily choices, daily survival, daily rebuilding. She showed her face, the scars. These scars will never fully disappear, and that's okay, because they tell my story. They show what I survived, what I overcame, what I refused to let destroy me. I'm not healed, I'm healing. There's a difference. Healed implies finished, done, complete. But healing is ongoing, it's daily. It's choosing yourself, over and over, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. She picked up Grace, held her to the camera. This is Grace. She's the reason I keep healing, keep surviving, keep choosing better, not just for her, but for me, because I deserve better. We both do. If you're watching this and you're in a relationship that hurts, that makes you small, that makes you doubt yourself, please hear me. You deserve better. You deserve safety. You deserve love that feels like peace, not chaos, not drama, not pain. And if you're watching this and you're on the other side, already left, already surviving, I see you. I know how hard it is. I know how exhausting, how lonely, how overwhelming. But you're doing it. You're surviving. You're healing, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one breath at a time. And that's enough. You're enough. Exactly as you are, scars and all. She ended the video, posted it, didn't read the comments, didn't check the views, just closed the app and lived her life. That evening, Claire gave Grace a bath, tiny tub, splashing, laughter, simple joys. She dried her daughter, dressed her in soft pajamas, rocked her, sang to her, the same lullaby her mother sang to her. Her grandmother before that, generations of women surviving, thriving, passing down strength. Grace fell asleep, perfect, peaceful, safe. Claire put her in the crib, watched her sleep, counted breaths, memorized her face. I did it, baby girl, Claire whispered. I got us through, and we're going to be okay. Better than okay. We're going to thrive. She walked to her bedroom, the one that used to be hers and Brian's, now just hers. She'd redecorated, new bedding, new colors, new energy. She looked in the mirror, really looked, at her face, her body, her scars, her strength. She saw a survivor, a warrior, a mother, a woman who refused to be destroyed. She saw herself, finally, clearly, without apology, and she liked what she saw. 6 months later, Claire received a call from a production company. They wanted to make a documentary about her story, about survival, about transformation. She said yes, not for fame, not for attention, but to help, to reach more women, to show them survival was possible. The documentary premiered at Sundance, standing ovation, critical acclaim, awards, but more importantly, impact. Women's shelters reported increased calls, donations skyrocketed, awareness grew, conversations started. Claire's story wasn't just her story anymore. It was every woman's story, every survivor's story, but it was also uniquely hers. Her pain, her survival, her triumph. She owned it, all of it, the good and the bad and the complicated. 2 years after the attack, Claire stood in her studio, Grace beside her, 2 years old, talking, running, full of personality. A client sat in the chair, nervous, first appointment after leaving her husband. Claire started working, gentle, professional, creating space. I saw your video, the client said, the one about healing. It helped me leave, gave me courage. I'm glad. Do the scars go away? The emotional ones? Claire thought about it, honest, real. They fade, but they don't disappear. And that's okay, because they remind you what you survived, what you overcame, what you're capable of. I'm scared I'll never be myself again. You won't be, you'll be different. But different isn't bad. You'll be stronger, wiser, more careful, less willing to accommodate, more willing to demand what you deserve. Is that better? Yes, that's so much better. The client smiled, relaxed, trusted. Claire finished the makeup. Beautiful, natural, real. The client looked in the mirror, started crying, happy tears. I look like me, she said. I forgot what I looked like, but this is me. Yes, that's you, and you're beautiful. The client left, paid, tipped, booked another appointment, left smiling. Claire cleaned her brushes, organized her station. Grace played with makeup sponges, making a game of it. Rachel came by, as she did most days, best friend, support system, family. How was today? Rachel asked. Good, really good. You're amazing, you know that? I'm surviving, that's all. No, you're thriving. Look at what you've built. The studio, the advocacy, the documentary, your daughter, your life. You're not just surviving, you're living. Claire thought about that. Living versus surviving. The difference was subtle, but important. She was living, choosing joy, choosing herself, choosing better. Every single day. Not because Brian's consequences taught him anything. They didn't. He was still in prison. Still denying, still blaming. But because Claire chose differently, chose healing, chose growth, chose life. That night, Claire recorded one final video, the last in her healing series. This is it, she said, the final chapter, or really, the first chapter of the next part. Grace was asleep in her arms, peaceful, safe, loved. Someone asked me recently if I forgive Brian, if I've found peace with what happened, and the answer is complicated. I don't forgive him, not for what he did, not for the pain he caused, not for the scars he left, on my face, on my heart, on my life. But I've found peace anyway, not peace with him, peace with myself, peace with my choices, peace with my survival. I've stopped waiting for closure from him, stopped waiting for apology, stopped waiting for acknowledgement, because I'll never get it, and I don't need it. I gave myself closure. I acknowledged my own pain. I apologized to myself for the years I stayed, for the signs I ignored, for the ways I made myself small. And then I forgave myself for being human, for being manipulated, for not knowing what I didn't know. That's the real transformation, not punishing your abuser, but freeing yourself from guilt, from shame, from the need for validation from someone incapable of giving it. She kissed Grace's head, smiled at the camera. This little girl will grow up knowing her worth, knowing her voice matters, knowing she deserves respect and safety and love that doesn't hurt. Not because her father taught her, but because I will, every single day, through words and actions and example. And that's how we break cycles, not by punishing abusers, but by raising children who know better, who expect better, who demand better. So to everyone watching, to every woman surviving, to every mother protecting, to every human healing. You don't need permission to leave. You don't need permission to heal. You don't need permission to choose yourself. You just need courage, and I promise you, you have it. Even when you don't feel it, even when you doubt it, you have it. Because you're still here, still breathing, still fighting, still surviving. And that takes more courage than most people will ever know. She ended the video, posted it, turned off her phone, held her daughter, lived her life. The ring light cast perfect shadows across Claire's face as she prepared for another tutorial. 3 years after the attack that changed everything, 23,000 people had watched that attack. Now 3 million people watched her weekly. Not for drama, not for trauma, for hope. Grace sat beside her, 3 years old, chattering, curious, beautiful. "Mommy, can I do makeup too?" Grace asked. "When you're older, baby. But I want to be like you." Claire looked at her daughter, really looked. This miracle child, born from pain, thriving despite it, full of light and life and possibility. "You're already like me," Claire said. "You're strong, you're brave, you're kind. That's what matters, not the makeup." Grace considered this, then nodded, satisfied, went back to playing. Claire looked at the camera, at the little red light, at the lens that once broadcast her destruction, now broadcast her survival, her transformation, her life. She smiled. Not fake, not performed, real. Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about something important, about beauty that comes from the inside, about scars that tell stories, about transformation that's real and hard and worth it. She touched her scars, barely visible now, but still there, still part of her. These scars used to embarrass me. Now they empower me because they show what I survived, what I overcame, what couldn't destroy me. And if you have scars too, physical, emotional, spiritual, don't hide them. Don't be ashamed. They're proof. Proof you survived, proof you're here, proof you won. Because the woman who attacked me is free now. My ex-husband is released from prison, and they both live with their choices, their consequences, their truth. But I live with mine too, and mine is beautiful, complicated, hard-won, real. Mine is a daughter who knows her worth, a business that helps women, a voice that speaks truth, a life that's mine, only mine. And nobody, not my ex, not his mistress, not anyone can take that from me. Because I finally learned the most important lesson, the one that took me too long to understand. I don't need permission to take up space, to have needs, to be complicated, to be flawed, to be human. I just need to show up, be real, choose myself every single day. She looked at Grace, at her daughter, at her future, and teach my daughter to do the same. The comments flooded in, hearts, support, women sharing their stories, their scars, their survivals. Claire read a few, then closed the app, lived her life. Because that was the real transformation. Not the video, not the views, not the attention, but the life she built, the daughter she raised, the woman she became. Strong, scarred, surviving, thriving, exactly as she was meant to be. If Claire's story moved you, I need you to do something important. Not for me, for the woman listening right now who needs to hear this. Who's wondering if she's crazy? Who's making herself smaller every day? Who thinks she's alone? Hit that like button so this story reaches her. Drop a comment sharing your thoughts, your story, your strength. Because every comment is another woman realizing she's not alone. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe because every week we're sharing stories like this. Stories of survival, of transformation, of women who refuse to stay broken. Your engagement isn't just numbers. It's a lifeline. It's validation. It's proof that speaking truth matters. So like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you're the woman who needed to hear this today, you're not crazy. You deserve better, and you're going to survive. Now let's begin.